if you are feeling called to do breath work, I very much recommend it. This video is a little different to my usual videos. I've just done a really deep breathwork meditation. I've never done it before, which is why I look so disheveled. I've actually been crying. I did look a lot more together than this before I did this practice, but I wanted to make a video, whether I post it or I don't post it, just talking about what happened. I feel like it's a really important shift for me, and it would be really interesting to see what comes out of what came out. So I'm just out of a 2-hour workshop with Aaron Doughty, for anyone who doesn't know, who I do a lot of my work with. And we did breathwork ceremony, and I haven't done breathwork before. I've done lots of meditation. I do lots of personal growth work. I do lots of inner shadow work. I do lots of professional development work. And this I kind of saw as all these things. I would do things to work on myself because I want to be a better coach, because I want to be able to be better for other people. So in that aspect, it's a professional development, but also I'm just obsessed with wanting to be a better version of myself, with wanting to tap into my own strengths, my own love, and to be, I guess I've been through some codependent relationships. That's where it comes from. And I never want to be in that position again. And through that comes this desire to do this work, because I know that actually we all have everything that we need within us. I know that on an intellectual level, I know that, I understand that, but feeling it and experiencing it and knowing it is different, right? So I do quite a lot of different practices that help me to heal my inner child or work out what's holding me back, my inner blocks. And this was one of those things. Now, I'm quite experienced with meditation, so I was ready. I was ready for the meditative experience of it. I've done a little brief introduction to breathwork before, but I've never done anything this intense. This was frankly incredible. And I didn't really know what to expect, I suppose. So we laid down just how it worked. We laid down. For me personally, I set my environment. So I had some incense going, I had some candles, had a blanket, made sure my phone was on airplane mode. I was committed, fully committed, in for the ride. Whatever happened, I was there for it. And you breathe what can only just be described as fairly aggressively during breath work. It's really like a, which, I mean, if you were to do that now and just take a couple of breaths like that, you might start to feel lightheaded. It's normal, because you're getting so much oxygen into your brain that it kind of puts you into another state of consciousness, is what I think has happened. So you are breathing that aggressively. Maybe aggressively is not the right word, because it's not aggressive, but you're breathing that actively for 40 minutes. It's long. So you breathe like that. You're breathing in very deeply. There's music. Aaron's talking to you, or whoever's leading the workshop is talking to you. And for me, I wanted to find more clarity on my purpose, more clarity on my day-to-day, the best way to run my day-to-day, the best way to make my videos, the best way to be the best coach I can be for my clients, the best way to be the best parent to my children. And that was my intention. My intention was to find clarity. And also with breathwork, it's about releasing emotions, releasing things that are stuck, maybe things that you don't even realize that are stuck. So we had 3 cycles: deep breathing, and then I'm simplifying this, but lots of deep breathing. And then you hold your breath for a wild amount of time. And it's incredible, because you really can hold your breath for a very long time, because you have oxygenated your brain to such a high level. It's kind of similar to the Wim Hof style of breathing that he does. Is in fact the same mechanism, works the same way. So we did these 3 cycles of like deep breathing, and Aaron's talking to you and things are coming up for you, and then you do this breath hold, which is a bit like a drug trip. If you've ever done any kind of drugs, whether you've smoked or plant medicine. I don't really know about harder drugs, like whether it would be the same, but it's how I imagine in the movies when you see that someone has injected heroin or something, you see them just kind of like ooh, and they picture it as being all kind of floaty and dreamlike. And I'm really glorifying it, and I'm like, don't do hard drugs. They're bad drugs. Don't do them. Obviously, I feel like I don't need to say that, but I'm going to say that. But that's how it felt. So every time we did the breath hold, you just kind of I traveled inwards completely in this real distorted version of reality where it was just all my internal processes. So all of the things in my room, the people in my life, my phone, my schedule, all that kind of thing, that just all dropped away, unimportant. And it was just very calm, very quiet, like falling into a big body of water that is warm, but it feels safe as well to do so. And in that moment, things come up for you. And for me, the first round, not too much happened. And Aaron's talking to you and he's saying it's okay to let go of emotions and, let it out. And like, not too much happened in that round. Trust the process. Keep going. That's fine. It is what it is. I'm going to get from this whatever I need. That's what I knew. In the second round, there's a suggestion to make noise if you feel like you want to make noise. Now, I was lucky that I was in an environment that had the house to myself, and I had really secured my time and space for this. I'd invested my time in this, and I started making noise. Love it if I'd recorded it. Actually, I started making noise, and it was almost like as I was breathing out, it was like a wailing, like almost a pain coming out. It reminded me of childbirth noises. Actually, I've had 2 children. It reminded me of both times I'd had them, and then that skyrocketed me into a totally different experience. So that kind of tied in with some really deep grief that I've had in the past. I'm not going to go into too much in this video, but I've had some big moments of grief in my past with my dad dying, my dad who raised me, my biological dad, my best friend of 20 something years. And I was sort of launched into this whole mixture of sadness. And for the first time since I was 16 years old, I felt angry at my dad for his death, for leaving. He chose that, and I'd never felt anger before, and that was a massive thing that I wasn't expecting to come up, and I just started crying. I was sobbing. Again, I had fully prepared my space, so I wasn't concerned about anyone coming in or hearing me or seeing me. I was able to just completely be in the experience. When I was sobbing and I was crying, and then you go through another cycle of the very active breathing, I'm going to say. And that feeling kind of got deeper, and I cried so much. It was unreal. Once I started crying, it was just crying. And I was crying for my inner child, for things that happened to me when I was young. And I had these realizations that as a child, I used to take myself away when I was in pain. When something sad had happened, I'd take myself away because that was the safe thing to do as a child. And that's something that has kind of coalesced into me being quite a lone wolf as an adult. And I'm quite protective of my feelings, and I'm not very vulnerable with a lot of people. And that's something that I was able to definitely do some really deep work on. And I guess that's what this is. This video is part of that, being vulnerable, making myself vulnerable by just sharing the pain of that and what had happened, because we're all human beings. None of us are perfect. None of us are fully formed. We're all learning and growing. That's the whole point, I believe, in our human experience. So I'm not ashamed of it. I'm not ashamed to share with the world the process that I went through, or the grief, or the transformation, because it's healthy. This is what I'm here for. So this is a celebration for me. And then after the third round, the breathing became more gentle. It was nose breathing at that point. I don't even know how long it had been going on by then. I was probably 40 minutes in or something like that. maybe an hour. I really don't know. Lost all track of time, and I couldn't even breathe in through my nose because I've been crying so much that I was like stuffed up. So I was sort of semi nose breathing, semi mouth breathing, and then my reality just changed completely. I left this reality. That's the only way I can describe it to you. I was in a place communing with, I don't know what you want to call it. To me, it felt like spirit guides. It felt like a lot of people that have died in my life were there, and it was just all love and connection. But it was also the realization that I am everything I need. I am the love that I need. I am the protection that I need. And the space that I was in was so beautiful and so otherworldly. I think I didn't really want to come back because I was there for a really long time. And then I came around and I realized that the breathwork had finished and the meditation had finished, and Aaron was actually talking to people during the call. There was some other people doing the breathwork as well. And I don't know if I came around during the first person he was speaking to or whether there'd been many people. And I was quite discombobulated at that point, and I'm still just sat on the floor. I had plans tonight to go out to go see some music and see some friends. My phone's on airplane mode right now. My phone is staying on airplane mode because I need time to integrate this and just feel all of the things that have happened. I've written down some thoughts and some feelings, which maybe I could have had that here so that I could be looking at it to tell you what I was thinking, but I really just wanted to talk about the process of it and what happened, how I feel. I feel quite, feel a little dizzy still. I feel a little like this kind of reality still feels a little bit odd. So I'm definitely going to be really gentle with myself. I'm going to have lots of water. I've already had a glass of water. I'm going to drink lots of water. I didn't eat beforehand because I wanted to have the ultimate experience, I suppose. I just wanted to prepare myself in a way that I was more open for it. So I'm going to eat something. I'm going to relax. I think I'm just going to allow all of this to integrate and just, I guess, be proud of myself for doing this work, because this work is really important. To me, it's really important to do this work for growth. And this today was intense. This was so intense. If you are feeling called to do breath work, I very much recommend it. And I recommend going all in. It will be a real shift. And I would imagine that breathwork is different for every person every time you do it. And I imagine it will be different with your environment and who you do it with. This is not something you should do often. So for me, I might do this again before the end of the year, but I think every couple of months is fine. Maybe 3 or 4 times a year. I'm feeling like this has been such a powerful thing for me. I'm feeling like I wouldn't want to do this. Now, I'm super ADHD. I'm massively all about high achieving and doing the best I can. And when I get into something, I'm like, I want to do it all the time. You know, a bit of an addictive personality like that. I just want to go all in. And there's not a bit of that from this for me. I've done it. I will definitely do it again. This will be a part of my regular just life upkeep now, but I will not be doing this again for several months. I feel like this is a thing that is going to take a while to filter through and to integrate. And this is too powerful of a modality to be messing around with. So if you've been called to do breath work and you've watched this and this has been of any interest to you, I highly recommend finding a practitioner. And actually, I think Aaron Doughty has some breathwork meditations on his channel, which are less intense. This one was in person, well, you know, on a live call, which was very important, I think, because this was intense. I think we were on call for 2 hours, but I think you could get an introduction to it from some of the smaller videos. I definitely recommend following the instructions, which are to be laying down on your back and to be able to breathe freely and to prepare your environment so you don't have anyone coming in. You are warm, you are comfortable, your space feels safe. And honestly, I am the queen of doing things anyway. Like, it will be fine. I'm so grateful to myself that I prepared everything, and I highly recommend that you do the same thing. If you're going to do breath work, I highly recommend that you set your space and really secure that time for yourself as well, with extra time. Because actually, after 2 hours, my son came home and it took me another half an hour before I was able to have a conversation. He's super cool. And when I was able to integrate a little bit, he gave me a hug and we talked about it. And that was really lovely, actually. And then we talked about some regular stuff. And now I'm like, actually, I just need to be kind of pottering about a bit and just be quiet and calm. That's how I feel. That's been my experience of it. So if you do breath work, or you've done breath work before, I would love to know what your experience is, because this has been really transformative for me. I hope this has been helpful sharing. Don't really know what the purpose of the video other than to give you my insight and how I'm feeling and what happened for me. And to definitely encourage you, if you're being called to do breath work, to do it, but to do it properly. Really invest in yourself, because this powerful, powerful stuff. As always, guys, have the best day.